we had the ICO craze, the NFT craze. Do you think there will be some form of craze, or in the technological speaking, or more it will be like consolidation and maybe improvement in the current technological marvels in the layer twos?
Correct. I mean, logic dictates that we have got hundreds and thousands of chains now. It is time to consolidate, right? But that apparently is not happening. We see even more and more chains coming up every time. So I'm not sure what is going to happen, but and or whether we will see consolidation happen this year. But I have a feeling that somehow we are still early days, and we might not see consolidation yet, right? So there will be more and more chains coming up, more and more advancements coming up. And but the interesting thing that I have started to see, and I think a lot of people have seen, is interoperability between chains.
Hi everyone. Today we have an esteemed guest with us. Manish, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. I am fairly new to crypto, believe it or not. I started my crypto journey in I think it was November, December 21, just before the Terra Luna crash in 22, which was like my first experience with crypto. So
Wow.
it wasn't so that is how I got involved in it. But I quickly realized that there is something to it. It's very interesting the way the projects, the whole vision of the ecosystem. And I think that is what got me interested to it, and hooked me into it. I also started writing professionally for a few websites, wrote a bunch of articles on crypto projects, news stories, opinions, you name it. And now I spend my time researching interesting topics and projects in the crypto space, and I make my own videos on my own and upload it on my YouTube channel.
Perfect. So I see on your channel you cover a lot of interesting topics, especially like recent developments in technologies in the space. So what do you think is like the most interesting thing happening at the moment in the crypto
Right.
space?
Well, the thing about crypto is that, every blockchain is its own ecosystem. And from what I have seen is a lot of interesting things are happening in every layer one, in every blockchain. So it's going to be really difficult for anybody to basically, be around all the layer ones to actually see what's happening everywhere. But what I do is I pick and choose the topics that are of interest to me. So, for example, at the moment, there is a lot of talk going on around parallel EVMs and new blockchains, new layer ones like Say and Monad coming up, which are, according to some people online and on social media, is going to give Solana a lot of, competition when it comes to transaction speeds and everything. So that is one of the topic that is interesting. Ethereum's new upgrade is also in the works, as you probably know.
Is it okay if you give
Changes.
like a background on that update?
Sure. After the merge, which was probably one of the biggest, when Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake, as according to the roadmap that is published by the Ethereum Foundation, the next update is this one that is lined up. And it has got around 7 or 8 different bits and pieces to it. But the one that everybody is looking forward to is called proto-dank sharding. Now, just in very brief, what it is supposed to do is it is supposed to help all the different layer twos that are currently associated with Ethereum, help in their transaction speeds and with Ethereum's own data availability. So overall, it is a step forward in the whole modular or the roll-up centric model that Ethereum is
So
working on.
sharding,
So
if I
that is one
understand correctly, will
of
allow
the
like
big
more
things.
scalability. Is it?
Yes, that is the idea. So with the roll-up centric roadmap, as you have seen, there are at least last I checked, there were 50 layer twos in production, and there were other 50 in testing. Right. So all of these layer twos are actually using Ethereum for settlement. But what is the one area that is creating a problem for them is something called data availability. So that is what this change is targeting. It is going to try and improve Ethereum's data availability, which in turn will help all of these hundreds of layer twos and improve their transaction speeds. And
I
of
see.
course,
So
that
basically,
improves
because
scalability.
layer twos at some point they need to interact with on-chain transactions. So
Right.
this basically, the scalability of layer one will help layer two like maintain their performance
Right.
or like improve. I see this.
Right. So these are some of the interesting things that are happening.
How does this compare to Arbitrum and Optimism? Because this is like the most, like let's say, most commonly known the layer twos, like for the scalability of Ethereum. So how does this new development compare to this?
Correct. So what the proto dank sharding or this new update will do is it's going to increase something known as data availability for Arbitrum and Optimism. So at the moment, for instance, they are only able to send a certain fixed amount of transactions to Ethereum because it cannot accept more than that. With this upgrade, they will be able to send more of these transactions to the Ethereum. Just in a very rough form, you can understand it that way.
Will that reduce the fees maybe?
It will, yes.
Perfect.
So that is another thing. So the more transactions there are on these rollups, the less the fees will be. Yes, you're
Interesting.
right.
Interesting. So other than the Ethereum ecosystem, is there other things within the crypto space that are interesting at the moment?
I think of course, yes. One thing that is has come across my radar is what's happening on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is slowly becoming more than just a proof of work chain, which has got a limited use case of sending and receiving transactions. So there are talks about layer twos that have come out that will come up on Bitcoin. We already know about NFTs, ordinals, inscriptions that are happening on Bitcoin, and I think that the Bitcoin ecosystem is going the Ethereum way, if I may put it bluntly. And what has happened is surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but interestingly, the Bitcoin camp has been kind of divided into two groups now. One group, which is like the purist, they believe that Bitcoin should not be touched. It is what it is, and it is doing what it's supposed to do. And then you have the other camp which wants, no, we want to put more stuff into it. We want NFTs, we want DeFi, everything. So it's a lot of interesting things happening over there. I don't know a lot of details at the moment, but I intend to study this development, and
Yeah, I
it is
think
really interesting. Never I no we never thought this would happen on
yes,
Bitcoin.
yes.
So
I never thought, but actually, it seems like I was what you are saying that it's moving the Ethereum direction, like because it's actually have to compete anyways. Like we can see the share of Bitcoin in the market is dropping year by year. So I think unless they do like some development, not major, but at least like some adaptation with the market needs. So yeah, they have to like they right now. I think they have the Omni layer, and I hear about the liquid Bitcoin, which is something like Litecoin
correct. Yeah.
also. So it's very interesting developments. Yeah, it's
Wow,
quite.
very
Nobody,
interesting.
I wouldn't like if someone told me this a couple of years ago. I wouldn't have imagined. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, very interesting. How about for the Solana, for example? What is the development in that space?
In Solana, I think what is happening is a lot of very good applications are coming up. We saw that the liquid staking protocol Jito, I believe, recently did their airdrop, which has become one of the most popular airdrops and applications on that ecosystem. Besides that, the DEX volume, the distributed or rather decentralized exchanges volume, has surpassed that of Ethereum, and not just on one occasion, but on several occasions. So Solana is seeing a lot of trading volume and activity on exchange thanks to these new dexes. Some of the names Jupiter come to my mind. It's going to have I think they're going to have a airdrop soon. I'm not sure what the date is, but that is one of the most anticipated airdrops also within the Solana ecosystem. And I was listening to somebody that I follow on YouTube, Invest Answers, James. He's been using Jupiter for all his trading activities, and he says that it is probably the best crypto exchange that he has ever used.
So when you say like the trading volume is very high, is this mostly like bots trading or like liquidity harvesting and stuff of that sort,
Well,
or it's actually
there,
like
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. Well, it's hard to say, to be honest, because you can't really completely discount that that is not going to happen or not happening. But what percentage of that is actually bot farming and other things is kind of hard to say. But if that was the case, then the counterpart would be that if that was the case, then you would have seen a kind of a pattern, but you would not probably have seen increased activity over a long period of time, sustained spot volumes over a long period of time. But let me just add here, one of the main reasons why the DEX activity has increased is also because of the series of airdrops that the Solana ecosystem is seeing. So a lot of people are going into the Solana ecosystem, doing transactions in for the sake of getting those airdrops, right? So that could be one of the reasons why the dexes are seeing a lot of volumes. But again, I come back to that point. Solana is seeing sustained dex volume, so it's probably a little more than just airdrop farming at this point.
I see. So you think it might have to do with like the NFT ecosystem that's also like,
Possibly,
I see.
possibly, because, well, if you think about NFT volumes, last I checked, the NFT volumes on Solana were also very high. They had surpassed Ethereum as well as Polygon. But I think Polygon came back again. But then again, there's no point in looking at these volumes every day because the numbers change so drastically that one day it's Polygon at the top, the next day it's Solana. And the interesting part is the top three chains when it comes to dexes and NFT volumes is Ethereum, Solana, and Polygon probably
I
at the
see.
moment.
So back to the technological aspect, you think that Ethereum still maintains the lead in terms of technology, or maybe there is some other hidden gem like chain that's actually challenging the Ethereum position on the or dominance in terms
That
of.
is a very contentious question, and that is depending on who you ask that question to, you'll probably get a different answer. And there is no one answer, to be honest, because if you think about this, all of these layer ones are a technology ecosystem all in themselves, right? So Ethereum is a technology ecosystem, is it's built around a certain design paradigm, and all the technological innovations that are happening in that chain is happening because it has to basically follow that design paradigm and the roadmap that they have laid out. Solana has a completely different design. It was not designed to be like Ethereum, right? It was designed to be much high speed and scalable blockchain. So their design philosophy is different. Their roadmap is different. For instance, the new client that will come on Solana, which is currently under testing, called Fire Dancer, is promising to bring upwards of 1 million transactions per second to the chain. So that is amazing, and that is possible because it has got the Solana blockchain at the bottom as the base, right? And it has been designed to basically develop something like fast chain clients and things like that. So both of these ecosystems are completely different, and the technological advancements in them are also completely different. The other example I can think of is zero knowledge is much more prevalent in the Ethereum ecosystem than the Solana ecosystem, as far as I know. And that is because of the fact that you got hundreds of layer twos. How can you, best, let me think about it the right way. What is the least troublesome path for all of these hundreds of layer twos to send transactions to Ethereum, that it doesn't create a bottleneck, a scalability bottleneck, and that is where ZK comes into the picture.
I see.
So it's a difficult question to answer, but yes,
Yeah, as we
that's
go, like I think maybe through like this market cycle, do you think that maybe we will see also like a huge drop in the, or like let's say a lot of projects will die out in this cycle because as the technology consolidates in a few prominent ecosystems, or do you think that we still will find like another craze of something like we had ICO craze, the NFT craze? Do you think there will be some form of craze? Or in the technological speaking, or more it will be like consolidation and maybe improvement in the current technological marvels in the layer twos.
correct. I mean, logic dictates that we have got hundreds and thousands of chains now. It is time to consolidate, right? But that apparently is not happening. We see even more and more chains coming up every time. So I'm not sure what is going to happen, but and or whether we will see consolidation happen this year. But I have a feeling that somehow we are still early days, and we might not see consolidation yet, right? So there will be more and more chains coming up. more and more advancements coming up. But the interesting thing that I have started to see, and I think a lot of people have seen, is interoperability between chains is going to probably drive this year and next year. Why I say that? We see something like Eclipse. Eclipse is a new layer 2 that actually uses Solana's virtual machine, but it's a layer 2 on Ethereum. So it's kind of bridging two technologies in a sense, right? And then we have something like EigenLayer, which is a project that enables other chains like Oracles or side chains to basically reuse the security that Ethereum provides. And now we've just a few days back, it was in the news that the Cosmos ecosystem is now going to collaborate with EigenLayer so that now they can tap into not only the security that Ethereum provides, but also the massive economy that it has. So this interoperability is, and some interesting use cases are coming up. And I think we'll just see more of that happening as well.
Maybe instead of direct consolidation, maybe there will be direct consolidation in the in the underlying technologies, so they are more compatible together, or like your
Yes.
approach. Because I remember also before Ethereum went into the proof of stake, we had the BNB chain, which was called Binance chain at the time, or Binance Smart Chain. It was the first to pioneer the smart chain concept on an actual practical scale, and then it improved the likability of Ethereum to move to this, and we now already see it in reality. So yeah, maybe there was like be the best of technologies, like as you mentioned, like there is some technology from Solana moving to layer twos on Ethereum. So yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense, like your perspective that maybe there will be like some commonalities between the technologies so they can cooperate together. Interesting.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
I know you like to focus on technology, but just I want to understand, do you think the price development drives technology, or it's the other way around? Like, how do you think these two are related? Because you cannot escape the price question. Like, I understand, like, we don't want to do like price prediction, but I'm just trying to understand which one drives the other.
Right. You know what? There is a saying in the crypto ecosystem that I think would answer your question. The saying goes like this, that the bear market is where the projects are built, right? So what that means is that, in a way, what that means is that the projects don't necessarily care about the price or the market. They are just there to build a product, improve on it, and make sure that they follow a certain roadmap and stay true to their vision. So that is what their prime agenda is. And if you think about it, if they're able to deliver on their promises, the price will eventually follow, right? So of course, market volatility is, crypto is known for market volatility, is right. And who knows, we might end up having a big crash like the Terra Luna UST. Nobody can predict these things. But I think, to answer your question, I don't think the price drives the project, but I think the projects that drive the prices, if you ask me.
One last question. I saw a video about like Filecoin and how it's actually having a lot of Web2 customers. So you think that maybe eventually these technologies will make its way to Web 2.0, or do you think maybe Web 2.0 will upgrade to Web 3.0?
Well, it could happen both ways, right? So, for instance, a very good example would be the whole tokenization narrative, right? So, if you think about it, how tokenization is eventually going to happen, or how, what I've read and what I've seen, how tokenization is happening, is that you have these traditional Web2 companies. Let's take a bank, right? So if they want to tokenize, they have to actually create their own, either they can create their own private blockchain, right? Or they can use one of the public blockchains like Ethereum, right? So in a way, they are actually adopting the Web3 technology, right?
Yes.
So you can call it whatever you like, to be honest, but I think the Web2 companies primarily will not completely change into Web3, but they will utilize the technology of blockchain to basically address some of the pain points and pain areas that they have in their own business. A good
So there will
example
be like an
is,
integration between the two industries,
yes,
two
a good
directions.
example is, the whole story about Swift collaborating with CCIP. Now, if you think about Swift, Swift is sitting in the middle of all the other banks in the world, enabling interbank or inter-country transfer of currencies and funds, right? So what they want to do is they want to, if these banks in the previous examples would have their own individual blockchains, right? Then Swift would also need to have some kind of a mechanism with which it can connect to those individual blockchains.
It can be
And
like a
that is where
bridge,
it is
basically.
collaborating with CCIP to
I
do
see.
that.
I see. Yeah, I think hopefully like the Web3 is not just confined into like this community or like this ecosystem, but hopefully it expands, it benefits all the world, like a lot of industries, because a lot of these promises honestly didn't materialize yet, but hopefully it eventually does, like about revolutionizing the supply chain, the physical supply chain and all these things. Yeah, hopefully
Right.
it works out.
The one thing we have to keep in mind is that if you ask any Web3 builder, right, not the application builders obviously, but the infrastructure builders like the blockchains or the oracles, what they would say is that, what we are building for is like the pipes or the rails or the infrastructure on which all of the systems and the applications are built. So there will be a time when you will have the Web2 companies, as we know them, using these Rails or this Web3 infrastructure, but the end customer would not even know about it. It will not make any difference to them. Well, it will make a difference to them because it will obviously impact them. It will make things much easier for them, and much faster, cheaper, but they will not know that it's actually because of blockchain, right? Uh,
Yeah,
so
it's similar to Web 2 from Web 1. So Web 1 was like one way only. Web 2 is like
there you go.
interactive. So people didn't really see this transition. Maybe developers saw it, but
Yes,
not average
exactly.
user didn't feel the difference.
Exactly.
Perfect. So how can the people follow up and like see more of your content? Is it just on YouTube or do you have other channels?
Well, primarily it is on YouTube. I do write a few articles here and there on my Medium page, but
Perfect. We will link that in the description.
yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Then thank you so much for your time today and have a nice day. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Thanks a lot for inviting. Bye bye.
Bye.